So I've been talking about culture and how everything just kind of seems, eh. Whether it's video games, it's just entertainment. Music, movies, um, TV shows. It's all sports. It's all just boring. And I heard somebody talking about how basically we're just oversaturated, and I think that's what I was trying to get at. We're just oversaturated. I think I've talked about this before, but we're just oversaturated with so much entertainment that it's not really, we don't get those A-list celebrities. We don't get those. I mean, we still have them, right? I don't know any of them. I know who Billie Eilish is, or Taylor Swift is. We still have those huge pop musicians that are just pushed by the machine. But like, I don't know any new actors. I used to know all, and I thought maybe it's just because I'm old and I don't really pay attention to the mainstream. But I think that it happens more and more. It is funny that one of our hobbies is scrolling. That's one of our hobbies now. So you don't need the entertainment. Um, I don't think so. I got ADHD. I've had it since I was a kid. And hey, Gavin Newsom, the one who said like you have a 960 SAT or whatever, so you can relate with black people. That's such a wow. That's crazy. So you're saying that black people are dumb? They're not smart. Yeah, I got dyslexia too, dude. So like whatever. What I figured out is, so I make my own music. I'm sure there's other good artists out there that. Oh, I'm not saying I'm a good artist, but I'm saying I'm sure there's good artists out there that I just don't know. They're pretty much underground. You have to find them. And I'm sure there's good actors and actresses out there. Um, there's great athletes out there, but there's there's value with rarity, and that's where it was where, yeah, you had these famous people, um, actresses, bands or whatever, athletes. Well, it's kind of like oversaturated with entertainment. So you don't really have as many A-list or prominent figures like you did. I mean, you still have popular people, but it's like being, Jack Morgan was talking about this, where it's just like there's so much entertainment. There's this guy that just got his wig pulled off, and like, he's like, he's a looks maxer, right? And he's over here. His all he talks about is his wig getting pulled off, because that's what popped him off, and he has nothing to offer but that. Like, how long do you think that that's gonna last? He'll be he'll be forgotten about in about a week. Um, because it's like, okay, and he's just gonna ride that. So this is where it comes to with like niches and everything is with somebody like me who has their hands in a lot of different areas and a lot of different cookie jars, it's not good for me. I was looking at probably like 4 years ago, like how to get popular off of TikTok or whatever, and it's whatever gets you that huge boost and you stick with it, basically. Like, that's you. I think this is what happened with Dylan Mulvaney. Well, I guess like the first of his channel on TikTok was basically just, I think, hiking or like animals, and then he switched to the trans stuff, and um now that's what he's all about. And he's fallen off as well. And it's interesting to see, like, when you see somebody go viral, like the guy that wears makeup and got his wig pulled off. He's like a one hit wonder. It's weird how things have changed. Um, how the fame works and everything like that. But it's like, and I'm trying to think, like, what am I going to do with my time? Video games are boring. I make my own simulations and stuff like that, and I don't really, I don't play on the internet, so I don't play with anybody off of the. I don't pay for that. Um, so I just play my sports simulations and I put them in the background, and I let that go. But I can only do that for so much. You know what I mean? Like, I need to take a break from it. I can't just continuously do it because it gets boring. Even though I do like all four sports and WWE, basically created my own type of unit. But it's like, I mean, I can try to go into other games, but they just don't really interest me right now. Um, but I was thinking to myself, so if entertainment is horrible, if dating is worthless, like, people don't really appreciate relationships, they don't really want to put the effort to have a relationship, then that's pretty much pointless. So what do I do with my time? I have no friends now. I have zero friends. And I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. This isn't the first time in my life I've had zero friends. I'm sure that I can make a couple friends here and there, in the future. Uh, uh, people definitely, like, want, when they first meet me, they're attracted to me, but then, like, they're turned off because I don't perform like they want me to. They expect a certain type of performance out of me, and I just don't live up to their standards, because I start talking about deep things, and they're into superficial things, or they want me to joke around, and I'm just not in a joking mood. I wish I was. I wish I was in a joking mood, because I am. I can joke, and I'm not like the most charismatic person, obviously, with my videos, and but sometimes, like, I can, and sometimes, like, so my jokes are hit or miss. Sometimes they're highly clever, like, really, and then other times they're just kind of like, dude, you shouldn't even. That's kind of obvious or whatever. Just not very funny. Um. So for especially, like, nowadays, I'm pretty much just introverted. Just want to, I'm cool with people. I'm cool with people. So I thought to myself yesterday, what should I do with myself? Social media sucks too as well. That's absolutely horrible. It was cool, but now it's just so fake, and I've known people putting out the best versions, like, they show, like, the greatest things of themselves. They don't show the struggle. You don't see the realism. When I say it's fake, I feel like all these popular people are put there. They're being pushed by the machine. or they use their own money to push. They don't organically get big. Um, like the clavicular guy, how he's just like popped off or whatever, and he's everywhere. And another one is like Larry Wheels. Him and they're like all over my Twitter. Like every single day, it's just them, and I'm just like, okay. It's kind of funny seeing Larry Wheels just be a big dude and everything like that, and he's got the fame, he's got the money, and it shows his woman leads that relationship the way unless that's all fake, because you don't know if it's fake. That could be being scripted to get views as well, so you don't even know what's real anymore. And like, I feel like I wasted the last 10 years of my life on politics, honestly. And I hope that Trump can prove me wrong. I really do. I thought that he was the last person who could save this place. He said a lot of good things. I mean, that's what politicians do. I like the fact that he wasn't a politician the first time, but this time, he's obviously a politician now. And yeah, like around June last year, he told people like me to fuck off because we wanted to see the Epstein list, the client list. And he's like, we don't need you no more. So it's like, when he said that to me, I was done. I was done. And I tried to, I went back to like kind of defend him because he was doing some things at the time that kind of like, okay, this sounds cool. But then it's like now, when I keep seeing what I don't want, us continuously giving other countries money while we're struggling here and going to war with Iran, and like the cartels, I think that they should be taken out. I think that we should go to war with them. I'm not for war, but like they'll bring it to us. It's right on our doorstep. They're right on our doorstep. Why are we worried about Iran and Israel stuff? Like the Republicans in 2016, I don't know, when they had the House and Senate back then, they wouldn't fund a border wall. They would fought against that, and it was probably like 25 billion, whatever. Well, we send out 13 billion to Israel every fucking year. So like, there you go. There's no, we're gonna keep funding everybody else, but we're not gonna take care of ourselves. And when I say I'm America first, I'm not America only. I'm just like, let's fix our own problems. We have a ton of problems here that need to be fixed. And then we can help other people out. We can't just like, when our house is burning down, help other people with their houses that are burning down. No, we have to worry about our own house first. Get our own fires put out. Then we can go help other people out. It's just like, it's stupid, man. It's really stupid that we have to be stretched so thin. If we were all taken care of and we're all living good, I'd be like, yeah, we can help other people out for sure. I don't think bringing them here is helping out. I think that helping them out in their environment, making their environment better, is helping them out way better than bringing a small group of them here and while the rest of them suffer. I think that's stupid. And that's why I say with these people on the left, like, why don't you just go live there and try to make their communities better instead of only bringing a handful here? It's a drop in the bucket, honestly, compared to like the population of people suffering. So, but they don't think like that, and that's where I sit. I just want our problems dealt with. I think that the working class has been abandoned for decades now, not only because of NAFTA shipping our jobs overseas, but it's like, dude, during the pandemic, I had to go to work, which is fine. I had no problem going to work, but like, why was I getting paid the same amount while people were getting paid more than me just to stay home. And I know that was just a short period of time, but it just seems like I put myself at risk because we didn't even. I wasn't scared. I went to work. I wasn't even gonna wear a mask. But the thing is, we didn't know. I think we found out pretty quickly. But still, it was like, dude, it felt like a slap in the face, to be honest. It just seems like it seems like now, like, why are we still giving all these rich people money that are like famous? Stop giving them super chats. Stop giving that, dude. Let them fall off, man. You know what I mean? Like, they're probably all fake anyway. But people are still gonna give those people money. I don't think I listened to Timcast. That was like my favorite show, Timcast IRL. It was like my favorite. It was my favorite show for like the last since 2019, and I didn't listen to it all last week. I kind of just like, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer. He was another one, like somebody I really listened to a lot, and he fell off, I feel like, and it's kind of like some of these. It just seems like they're like pandering to their audience, basically. Not Sticks. Sticks kind of like, I felt like he kind of loosened, like he kind of relaxed and didn't really hammer as hard as he could on people. On the left. Maybe he's getting threats or whatever, but when I go up on Twitter and I see him post something like his food pictures or talking up, it's like, dude, what are you doing with all this stuff that's happening with politics, and you're just like kind of like avoiding that discussion? And then Tim's just like still in this right versus left thing, and I'm just like, no, I'm more into like rich versus poor, working class versus the rich. Like, why? I think the rich are basically parasites at this point. If they were providing good products and services, which if we were getting paid well, people would have a better attitude, so the services would be better. They're not really innovating anything, so I don't think that the products are that great, whether it's food. I noticed this. I got some snacks, and I noticed, and it could be because people aren't buying them as much, they're kind of stale. They're expensive and they're stale. When I see these new cars and nobody's really buying them, people are buying them, but they're not buying them like how much they've manufactured them. There's a lot of these. This is what I'm hearing, unless it's all bullshit, but the houses aren't selling, new cars aren't selling. So if that's not happening, the prices should drop, but they're not dropping. Everything is just staying high, and I don't think it's just the tariffs that Trump says. I think that there's something else going on, like they're trying to squeeze us, and I feel like I've been squeezed. It it's like I hear the same thing with these boomers that are like, oh, the fast food is just a job. Go get a skill. It's like, dude, do you understand what kind of economy we live in? 80s was it? I heard a stat a few years ago that like 86% of the jobs here are service based jobs. Like, you're telling me that, which fast food was wildly popular. I don't know how popular it is now, but people are still going and getting it. You're telling me that these people don't deserve a living wage? They don't. Why? So they should have to work. These boomers are like, those jobs are made for kids. Yes, those were intended for kids back in the 60s and the 70s. Well, this isn't that anymore. Like, did they have as many fast food jobs or establishments as they do now? No, they didn't. And like, McDonald's, there's McDonald's in my little town is the only fast food that stays open 24/7. Well, are kids supposed to work in the middle of the night? You know what I mean? Like, who high school kids, are they who works during the school hours? Do these establishments shut down during the day? Do they not have lunch rushes? Do they not have breakfast rushes? And it's like, what are you talking about? This is what, like, you people are completely out of touch with reality. You think that these people, you obviously need adults to do these jobs. You think that they should basically be homeless. You don't want them on the government. You don't want higher taxes. You don't want them to get government assistance. But you don't want them to have a living wage at all. So you think that they're just going to work for free? You think they're going to want to do these jobs for nothing? And then and a lot of these jobs, they don't pay enough, right? They don't pay a living wage anyway. So people have to work multiple of these jobs. And then they're like, well, you gotta make it. Dude, when you have to work 60 hours a week, working 60 hours a week is a ton. What is there, 160 hours in a week or something like that? Who has the time to go and get a skill, like, with all the mental exhaustion that you have because you're grinding just to pay your bills, and go get a skill and juggle everything? Oh, I did this. Like, do you know how hard that is? I'm thinking to myself, like, so basically, with myself, I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm like, everything sucks. And there's nothing real. There's not really a community. There's nowhere for me. And it costs a lot of money to do anything. So the best thing for me to do is just get another job. Just use my time. So it'll keep me off of the internet, keep me off of social media, because it's so boring and there's nothing really. It's just repetitive, and I'm not getting any benefit from it. You know what I mean? Like, so I might as well just work another job, and just so it forces me to be in reality. That's where I'm at this point. It would help me out financially. But what am I supposed to do? Just like, cause what I feel like right now is, it's cool I have the weekends off, but it's just like I'm waiting just to go back to work. That's what it feels like. Like, I come home, I can't afford to go anywhere, I can't afford to do anything because I'm on a tight budget, and I'm just living to work instead of working to live, and I don't know if it'll get me ahead, but it'll keep me occupied. It'll keep my time occupied so I don't spend so much time on the internet, and on Twitter or listening to YouTube videos, and I'm not going to contribute to that anymore. It'll start. I know mine isn't nothing. It's just like a little tiny drop, but yeah. I think that we're in. I think. I don't think we're. I really don't think we're gonna have. We might have a collapse. I don't know. But I think the collapse is probably culture. To be honest, I don't know if we're gonna. Even if we do have a collapse, it's not gonna be. We're still going to be a prominent figure on the world stage. America will be. It might not be the number one country, but we might just be tied with other countries. But we're not going to turn into like rubble. There's no way. If America turns into like Mad Max, which some areas could, but I think that America is too big for the whole thing to turn into Mad Max. But I do think that certain areas will. You probably it'd probably be like some major cities that collapse. I think that if I was living in Chicago, I'd be very concerned that the iconic Chicago Bears are playing in Indiana. Well, they were talking. I think that they're pretty much, unless something changes, they're going to be playing in Hammond, Indiana, and I get it, it's still close to Chicago, but it's still in Indiana. To see stuff like that happen, to see the Kansas City Chiefs, which are still the Kansas City Chiefs, but they're not playing in Missouri, they'll be playing in Kansas, even though, technically they're still Kansas City. It's like, dude, I think it's sad to see like these, and if some of these stadiums are, just too old, I get it, but why not make a new stadium that like make a modern version of whatever it was? Why would you go towards like these, like make an Arrowhead Stadium but modern? If you can't, if it's falling apart and everything like that. I've never been to Arrowhead, so I don't know. I'm too poor, I can't afford it. Anyway, but yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm like, I might as well, I'm trying to get my regular job, try to get that, so I do my 40 hours a week. That's where I make most of my money. And I'll probably get like a side job doing something. And just do that for a while. Because it just seems like, I don't have a wife. I don't have a girlfriend. I had none of that. And it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon, if it ever does happen again. Well, I need something. So it's like, if I don't have a wife or girlfriend, and I can't afford a date, and I don't think it's really worth it considering what's out there. It's not really worth it. I might as well just like pay for prostitution, which isn't legal, but what's the difference? That's basically what, just hook up, that's it. And it's just, I think I'm old and I'm over that. It's cool, it's fun for a little while when you're young, but it does get old, it does get boring. Anyway, so I worked at a lot of different places, and over this last 10 years, and I'd rather just stick with one place, but the thing is, I've had to move for a couple, like, I really didn't want to leave my job. It was really weird. My job in Washington State, the one I eventually got, I worked there for like 2 years. It was USG, which they really, really helped me out. That's the place where I was hooking up with the Super. Didn't really hook up, but like we were seeing each other, and like I was like, at the time I was thinking about leaving. After a month of being in Washington State, I was coming up with an exit plan. The area that I was at, Renton, is way too expensive. So I'm like, okay, so maybe I should move to the eastern side of Washington. Trying to look at different things. I still wanted to be in the same area, but I wanted to be less expensive. So I ended up moving into Puyallup, right next to Tacoma. And where I worked in Auburn, I hated the commute because I worked 11 miles away, which that isn't bad, but the bad part was the traffic, which when I got off of work at 3:30, it would take me like 45 minutes, sometimes an hour to get home because of traffic. And so I figure, this is why I'm saying, like, I don't understand, like, when I come up with something to alleviate some pain or struggle in my life, the simulation just says, nope, fuck you. Well, at this time, like, I was like, okay, I'll just go to the gym right after I get off of work. And the traffic usually dies down around 6 or something like that. So I'm like, I could just go to the gym. And at that time, they were paying for my gym membership. And then they took that away. They were doing it for like many years, and then they took it away. And I could have paid for it for myself, but I'm like, I was at this time. I'm like, I was a year out, and I was planning on leaving. So because it's just too expensive, you know what I mean? And it just the Puyallup was a cool little town. You know, they had the biggest fair in the whole state, and there were some cool things about it, but I didn't like the traffic, and I was spending a lot of money. I think I was paying at that time 11, almost $1,200 a month for a one-bedroom apartment, and I pay about $1,200 right now, which is pretty expensive for my town for a three-bedroom house. It's still pretty expensive here, but you know the landlord's really cool, and he didn't check my credit. So anyway, but that job was really cool. It was like a catch-22 because I really loved that woman. Like, I was head over heels in love with this woman. I loved everything about her. She was like feminine. Even though she was a supervisor, she was super feminine. She was nice. She wasn't on drugs. She wasn't drinking all the time. She liked football. Her kids were she was an empty nester, and I'm like, dude, she's perfect. I thought she was gorgeous. Even though she was like a year older than me or two, I was like, man, she's everything I wanted. Like, I basically wrote a list a couple years after, like after me and my ex-fiance didn't work out. I wrote a list of what I wanted in a woman, and she met like so many of these qualities. And I think she found somebody else. The hypergamy took over, and she found somebody else. So, and it was weird because like I was having a hard time at work at that job. I just switched over, and I wasn't getting the training I needed because they were really short-handed, and it was kind of like a slow and I was like, probably I made a huge mistake. I dumped a whole pallet on top of my forklift because you could take them two at a time. They're stacked up three high, and I was thinking about her, honestly, and it was a good thing. And I went in there and I grabbed three, and then the one on the top just fell on my forklift. And I had a couple little incidences where I did a couple boxes got damaged, like a couple bags got ripped, and those accumulated in a short period of time, and I was getting on the cusp of being let go. And then it all of a sudden, like, it felt like and I told her at one point, because she was I wanted to go out with her, I wanted to go places with her, and and do stuff with her, and she was afraid because she didn't want other people seeing us together because of she could get in trouble, fraternizing with the help. So I even told her at one point, I can find another job. And she didn't want to do that. She looked at me more of like just fun, just somebody to have fun with. And I wanted a relationship. And I thought to myself, like, she's old. She's not like a 20-year-old, she's old. She's my age. She's probably done with all that. She wants a relationship. And no, she's still had that mentality. So they want, but, and it's not saying like I get in a relationship and I don't want to have fun no more. I want to do stuff for sure. But, so basically what happened was I was doing bad at work and things were going good with me and her, right? Like she kept on saying she was dragging her heels to like it took a while for me to get her number. I got her Facebook. We were messaging for a little bit on Facebook and talking at work a little bit. And then gradually I was getting a little bit better, and then I got to the point to hang out with me, and then all of a sudden it was like boop boop, and then it started going the other way. She started getting distant, and I started doing really, really well at work, right? It was like this, and then it went boop, boop, and it went like this, and it was like, I was like getting raises really quickly. I started out at like 18, and I got up to like 26.50. I needed one raise, and I was going to be topped out in like 2 years. I was backing up semi trailers and stuff, and doing highly complex loads, multiple ones, whether they were the flatbed or like just the drive end, just going on top onto like with the loading dock or whatever. And I was getting better, and then it was so hard when she stopped talking to me because it was like she ghosted me. And I was like, how the fuck is she gonna, like, she told me some intimate things about herself and her childhood. Why would she ghost me like that? Like, how, like, that's the worst move. Because I can go out and say all this stuff about her, and you know what I mean? It was like such a weird thing that she did that to. It was like, what? Like, I could destroy you right now. Like, I could destroy you. I could get you fired. And you just do that? Like, okay. And I ended up leaving, and especially like everything locked down, and then once it lifted, I'm like, I'm out of here. Then I left to Missouri. But anyway, it was just weird. That's how life works with me. That's what I'm saying. Like, I figure out something, stuff starts going good for me, then all of a sudden, boom, for no reason. Like, what the fuck? Like, things are going good with me and her, and then like bad at work, and then it starts. I can't have good things both ways. No, it's got to be one way or the other. Like I figure out something like, okay, I'll go to the gym after work. That gets taken away. Like, I moved to Michigan a few years ago. They had a heavy bag, so I'm like, heck yeah, I'm going to the gym. Then they took it out, probably because I was hitting it. It's like a couple weeks after, and like, what is with this, man? Like, I don't understand it. It just it seems it's so weird. Like, this is what makes me pissed off about life. Like, why does this shit keep happening? Where, why can't things just go good? Like, I've had enough things just go bad. Can things just go good for once? And like, on all of aspects of life, like, I work hard, you know what I mean? I don't just sit here getting money off the government or screwing people over. It's like, what the fuck is your problem, God? I've worked hard enough. I think I've been through enough in my life. Can good things happen at any? And it's just, then you have like videos that I made probably like 5-6 videos ago where I'm like at my wit's end. And I'm just like sick of it, I'm just tired of this shit, because it's like, enough's enough, man. I don't deserve this shit. I deserve, for everything I've been through, I deserve a good life now because I work for it. I fucking work hard for it. So I deserve to have a good life. I deserve to have a good woman in my life that I can come home to, that I can spend time with. I deserve to have a good job where I can go and do really well there and be highly productive and contribute back to my community in different ways as well. And the economy. I'll spend money. I want to. I don't want to sit here and just like do nothing. I fucking hate this shit. I feel like I might as well just be in prison. I don't like having to just go to work and come home and that's it. So I want a good life. I fucking have worked hard, and this is where my frustration is. Like, what is your fucking problem, God? Like, why are you fucking with me? What else do I have to do? Like, what do you want from me? Then do you want me to go the opposite way? Do you want me to turn into a criminal? Do you want me to go into prison? Like, I've just had enough. You know what I mean? Here's another thing too. Like, all that being said, I wanted to talk about the training and how bad it is. A lot of places I've worked, the training has just been absolutely brutal. A lot of people just think that you're supposed to catch on quickly. Um, maybe people, maybe it's just for me. People expect more out of me, but when I'm doing something new, I'm extremely cautious because I'm going to make mistakes doing something new, but I don't want to make catastrophic mistakes. Okay? And I don't want to make and I don't like making mistakes. I don't like criticism. I really don't. That's why I'm kind of like when people listen to my music or my videos in front of me, I feel, they're gonna criticize me. It's all like, but like who likes criticism? But I don't want yes men either. You know what I mean? I like the truth. I just don't need people putting me down. Um, which I deserve it on the internet because I put a lot of people down. But it's not to like it's not for ill intent. It's just to make a mockery of everything. That's to troll that basically. And that's what people probably could do with me. But the training is horrible. Training is not very good. And when I learn something and they have me train people, I try to be empathetic, and I try to be patient and don't expect them to catch on so quickly, or I do best one-on-one. I'm not going to do good training like 5 people at the same time. If it's like 1 or 2 people, I can train really well. I can sit down and talk about things and show them things. When it's like 5, that's just too many people. But yeah, the training is horrible. It's getting worse. So here's the thing too. The reason why it's gonna get worse is because you have a lot of these older people that are retiring, and they're not training, and some of them so part of the reason why the training's bad too is because people have had to train too many people. Since these companies don't want to pay people right, you have a high turnover rate. They'll go to another job, or some like I've heard this for multiple places. City that I'm by, city I used to work in, drug addicts, they'll hire a drug addict or whatever, they don't know, or I don't know. So they work there a couple weeks, they get their check, and then they quit. It's like there's no I don't understand that, but I guess they're drug addicts, so there's no long-term thinking there really. Maybe they get food stamps and they don't want the government to know. But it's a high turnover rate as well. In companies. So if I'm sitting here training somebody, right, and I'm like trying to train them up, and I'm doing a good job training them, and they're catching on pretty quickly, and then they just quit, and this keeps happening, I'm just gonna think like, you're not gonna last anyway. Why would I care about training you well when you're probably not even gonna last anyway? So I don't think it's the training, the trainers that are bad. I think it's the companies that just don't want to pay people right, that cause people to leave. It could be a little bit of both, but the trainers get tired of it. It's just like, you're not going to last anyway. That's what their mindset. And they're just probably tired of it. It's like, I've done this over and over. You know what I mean? It's just, training shouldn't be happening as much as it happens now. People should want to stay with their companies. I will stay with my company and bust my ass for my company that takes care of me. If I feel like they take care of me, I'm going to work my ass off for you. If I feel like you're not taking care of me, then, and you're looking at me like a temp or a rented worker, then don't expect much out of me, man. Expect, like, if I find a better opportunity, I'll be out quickly. If you don't want to pay me right, you think I'm gonna turn down like a $3 raise or something like that because I'm gonna be loyal to you? No. If you can't figure out how to like compensate me right, then I'm gonna go somewhere else. I mean, I think that you would do that too. Like, if they do that, if they could figure out how to pay people less, and get good workers, they're gonna do that too. So like, it goes both ways. So I'm gonna do what's best for me. You're gonna do what's best for you. So you're not gonna be loyal to me. Why would I be loyal to you? I'll be loyal to you if you're loyal to me, but you could fire me at any time for stupid shit. Oh, I fail a pot test because I smoke weed on my on my days off, or it's the holidays and I want to, instead of drinking, I want to get high. Oh, you failed a drug test. You're fine. No, I'm good. Um, it's just like there are just so many absurdities nowadays, and these companies just don't want. They want a shortcut. They want to shortchange the bottom workers. You can't keep taking from us anymore. You have to start giving back. If you want people to stay, if you want high retention, you have to start paying us. Take away from the white collar workers and give to us. We're more important at this point anyway. And I'm hearing like there's nobody hiring. There's no jobs. When I was in Michigan, yeah, that's true. It just depends on your area. In Michigan, there wasn't a lot of jobs. There was jobs, but there wasn't a lot of jobs in my area. There's a lot of jobs. It's just they don't want to pay, and it's not. It's hard work. You're gonna get dirty hands. So, I think that all these people that are saying, "Oh, I filled out 500 applications." I don't think that they're lying about that. I just think that they need to broaden their horizon with different jobs. I've adapted to so many different types of jobs, like when it comes to production and shipping and all these. So last week, some of the videos I was making is because like I wasn't sure, like it was frustrating, but I feel like I catch on relatively quickly. For me, when I'm learning something, I'm like, it might seem like at first I need to catch little things. People are like why doesn't he catch? How does he not understand this? It's so basic and easy. But the whole thing is, I'm thinking about I'm trying to get everything, the whole process, right? Instead of just focusing on this one little thing. Like, I'm thinking about the whole process and getting it. So, like, what happens with me when I'm learning something or training for a new job, people are like, dude, how can you not catch on? Because I'm doing, like, the whole process. And what happens after, like, a week or two, I'm, like, probably a lot farther ahead. I start out like really so like he probably ain't gonna make it. He's not catching on, but it's like I do it, and then boom, in about a week, I'm like what really far ahead. So maybe that's just normal. I don't know, but that's me anyway. But I always feel like when I'm being trained that I'm not catching on as quick. At first, like people are like, how do you, it's because I'm looking at all these different factors and I'm judging the environment. I'm looking at the environment. I'm looking at the people. I'm looking at all different types of things. I'm not just like I'm focused on a lot of different things, not just one. So that's why, like, when I start out somewhere, people don't understand, like, why are you not catching on to some little basic thing? I want to make sure I do the job right. I want to make sure I do a good job and I do the job right, wherever I'm at, So, yeah, companies. My advice, which none of you will see this, but If I was to be an advisor, I'd be like, take care of your blue collar workers because they're the ones that are doing all the work. And the fact, like, you wonder why the economy is not doing good. People aren't spending money is because like we're not getting paid good. If we got paid better, we might be able to do a little bit more. The bottom, the money's just sitting at the top and it's not circulating with us. It's just kind of like sitting at the top and we're getting little trickles down and then we're having to pay all of that for our basic necessities. So we can't do extra. We can't go out and go to the movies or whatever. Vacation, go here, go there. Just spend money to travel somewhere. Like, even if it was just like a couple hours away for a day, you know what I mean? We don't have the money to do that. Costs a lot of money to eat, you know what I mean? And I'm wondering if like that's what people are really putting their money towards, just the basic necessities, and that's why food's so much. I don't know, the economy's fucked up, and it's been fucked up basically my whole life for me. Not for everybody. The rich people have always done good. The higher classes than me, which I've always looked at myself as like rich, poor. Like, I'm on the top of the poor. Or like, I guess I'm not the top of the poor because they say like 60. I think that I'm like up there. You know what I mean? I'm not. So like right below me is welfare, to basically. I'm always basically right above welfare. That's where I'm at. And that's where a lot of people are at. And we need the economy to service us better instead of always the rich. Like, you've had your day. You've had your day in the sun. You've taken from us. You can't take from us anymore. Or you'll go out of business. Like, what's going to happen with these companies if they don't watch their shit is you're going to have these older people retire, and then you're going to have nobody to come and do the jobs. And a lot of these jobs, it takes years to figure out. So you're going to have these people retire. No one's going to know how to do these jobs. And you're going to throw people in there that don't know what the fuck they're doing. So they're going to put out shitty products, fucked up shit all the time. They're going to fuck up a lot of shit. And it's going to cost you a ton of fucking money. It might even put you guys under because you will not focus on the future. You just want to focus on like the next month or quarter. You don't want to focus on a couple of years out. It's going to hurt you big time. But who the fuck am I? I'm a peasant. I don't know shit. You know what I was thinking too? I'm listening to all these like philosophers or famous people like Einstein, looking at all these different prominent figures, Da Vinci. I haven't looked at him yet. I need to look at him. But Michelangelo or Van Gogh. These famous people. And I'm wondering, like, I wonder how many geniuses have been on this planet, or whether it's art or whatever, but they just lived a regular life. I bet you there's so many people that have like been highly intelligent, but they didn't have the opportunities because they had to use all their time for survival. They didn't have the opportunities. They didn't have the different privileges. In order to be an artist, you had to have to sit here and chisel stuff out. You had to sit here and have time on your hands to be able to create that art. Chiseling out a statue, I think it took that one, the Michelangelo's most famous statue, it took him like 4 years, and he was doing it all the time. So you didn't have to go farm. You know what I mean? You had the extra time. I wonder how many geniuses and really highly artistic people just basically were never heard of before because they didn't have the time to really, they raised a family or they were focused on basic survival. Doesn't mean they were stupid. It's just like the circumstance that they were in. They had to, how many great athletes are in prison right now that they could have been the next Michael Jordan or something. You know what I mean? Or LeBron, that for people nowadays. We don't know, and we would never know. So there's probably been so many highly intelligent people or highly creative artistic people that just their skills were just never heard of, or they could never pursue them because they had to focus on basic survival their whole life. Pretty crazy to think about. I was thinking about that. These people that we hear about that are like great artists or philosophers, it's just like they probably weren't the only ones. Like, yeah, they were. They were the only popular ones that made it, but there probably was a lot that we just haven't even never heard of and never will hear of, and just crazy to think about that. Anyway, that's it.